Hey girls, good morning. I'm trying to find a better spot here this morning because our trees are losing the leaves, so we're starting to get the sun straight in on us. So good morning. Sorry we're running a little bit late. Woke up this morning and it's like 40 degrees out here. I'm freezing. So we're going to be quick this morning so I can feel my fingers again. But good morning. I hope you're having a beautiful Monday morning. Today's topic is going to be unfinished. A lot of women are struggling today, and just some of the comments that are made to them. People are mean, you know, and they just say things that hurt feelings. Maybe they don't mean to, and maybe they do. We don't know, actually. I'm using the coffee cup to fill my fingers again. But I want to talk about that for you, just being unfinished and trying to help you understand that, you know, God knows where we're at. He knows what we're going through. He knows what's going on. But sometimes it's about building our character and building who we are. So let's take a look at our verse today. Excuse me. And we are in Ephesians. Okay, that's really bad. Give me 1 second here. I moved my thing and now I've lost my verse. Okay. I have lost the verse that I was going to do, and for me to sit here and find it is not going to happen. Ephesians 3. Take a look at Ephesians 3 today, because that'll give you an idea where I was going. But today we're going to talk about, you know, the real beauty that we have inside of us, girls, is not that outward appearance. It is not the polished, flawless things that we see in the media and on TV. That's not true beauty. Because a lot of those people that appear to be flawless actually are quite nasty in their words. And I think what happens with us is as we see these, what in our eyes is perfection out there, turns out to be where we're judging ourselves. Where if I see someone and I'm like, oh, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, look how well put together she is, then my standard for myself raises up. Instead of being the woman that God has called me to be, I'm trying to be her. And that's a dangerous place for us to be playing. Because see, girls, what you don't understand is that polished exterior isn't necessarily always who people truly are. See, a lot of who they are comes out in their words and their actions. So we see that a lot. We see where women can come across as polished and perfect, and yet they lash out with their tongue against other women. And see, girls, that's not flawless. So that appearance, it's that false appearance that we see in front of us, makes us believe that these people are finished and perfect and flawless and amazing, and we need to be like them. And no, girls, you don't. Girls, you need to be who God has called you to be. You need to know that you are restored. And I understand that you may not feel today, because of trials and circumstances in your life, that you are restored. But know this, as a follower of Jesus Christ, as a woman of God that has accepted Christ into her heart, you are restored in God's eyes. In God's eyes, you are perfect. It's that simple. You see, because God doesn't define us like we define us. You know, 1 Samuel tells us that man sees the outward appearance while God sees the heart. Excuse me. And God knows everything about us, every little detail about us, girls. He knows that somebody is going to kick us in our shins. But he also knows that he's going to be there to bandage the wound, to let us put our arm around him and let him carry us the next 20 feet, whatever it may be. But we've got to realize that, and not allow, I think it's not allow these other people to make you feel less than. Not to make you feel like you're a flawed person, that you are not a woman of God, that you are this horrible creature. Because what I want to tell you, girls, and I've experienced this recently myself. I just had a dear friend of mine experience that, and these people vomit on us for a couple of reasons. And you need to understand this. These people vomit on us because, one, it's their own issues in their own life. Okay? They're dealing with something, and, you know, my mother-in-law was like that too to us. She would be telling us, you know, oh, God is punishing you, when we went through so much of the issues we did years ago, financial. And we were like, punishing us for what? Well, she was struggling with what she was doing, and so she vomited on us. But you'll see that people that struggle in their own walk, somebody who, you know, in my case, somebody who was struggling and maybe is struggling with where they're at because I chose to step boldly forward, was offended. I've watched women lash out at other women for no reason, aside from the fact they're struggling themselves. And that's hard. It's really hard, girls. Good morning, Kimberly. It's really hard. But what I want to tell you, and I want you to know, is that your past does not define who you are today. Your scars do not define who you are today. Your sufferings today do not define who you are as a woman of God. See, what happens in our life, girls, is that we go through these changes, and sometimes they're abrupt, and sometimes they're unpleasant, and sometimes church would be perfect if we took the human element out, because humans are flawed. They do stupid stuff, they say stupid things, and sometimes they say, I'm not realizing they're hurting. Other times they're lashing at you because they're lacking. So there's a couple of different, we don't know the dynamics. That's not our place to know it. What our place is as women of God is to understand that as long as you are doing what God has called you to do, and you are living your life as a woman of God the best of your ability, that's all you need to worry about. Because see, what happens, a lot of times these folks will strike out at us and make us feel less than. And then down the road, it's brought to their remembrance. But it's also a journey for them to heal, but also for us. And just know, sorry, Dante's running. Just know that all of this brokenness that we go through is okay, because it isn't that God's looking at you, and I wished I was closer to my gardening stuff, as a broken pot. Okay, where we have a clay pot that's been shattered, and all it's good for is the shards to go in the bottom of another plant to help for drainage. No, God sees those shards, those broken pieces, girls, and what He does is He takes them. He's the potter. He brings them all back together, and He molds it into something more beautiful than what you had before. God refines us. God restores us. And our beauty is in God's eyes. So when we're feeling like we're just not enough, we're not finished, and that's why I use the word unfinished, we're just feeling like we're a mess. When we're feeling like we're a mess, that's when God is doing His biggest work. When we feel like everything is falling apart around us, and that everything we worked hard for, and that everything we've done when we were moving in the right direction all of that stuff starts falling apart and everything starts crumbling around you, it's okay. That is the time, girls, where you get on your knees and you go to God and you ask Him, Lord, my life is shards right now. Can you put it back together for me? Show me what I'm to learn out of this and show me where I'm to go. Because sometimes He needs to get our attention. So when we look at some of the stuff that happens, other times it's just because the other person's messed up. But in either case, God will use it to build your character, to grow you to a stronger woman of God, so that you can be used in a mighty way. Because what I do know is every time we go through something like that, God is just preparing us for the person that's going to come into our life that maybe needs that same encouragement from what you went through. So I hope this makes sense to you. I hope it touches somebody's heart, because it was just such a burden for me as I'm hearing multiple people go through things and be wondering, how do we ever heal from this? What is this about? Girls, God is refining His woman. He is building us up right now. He is calling us to rise up, to be different in this world, so that we can be a light in a dark world. Look at our elections and how dark they are, how they dig up all of this crap from so far back that doesn't even pertain to today. And look at what the world has created with all that. Look at all the hate that's here on social media. Oh, girls, we're all the same. And yet, this circumstance has fueled so much hate and anger. This is where we as women can be built up and be a strong, thriving woman of God. And come through with that light. And just shine that light brightly as all that darkness is swelling up around us. So I challenge you today, if you're being attacked by someone or by a circumstance, you feel like you're beating yourself up over your past, you've got scars from your past, if you're suffering today from attacks or just mindset issues, girls, I challenge you today to seek God and ask Him to heal you. Ask Him to reveal what it is He has for you. Because, girls, He will, I promise. In His time, He will. You guys got this. Don't listen to what the world tells you. And just seek God. Ask Him to check your heart. Ask Him, do I need to change something I'm doing? If I don't, then help me accept the fact that somebody else is struggling in what's going on in their life. Ask Him, Lord, don't allow me to harbor these bitter feelings. Don't allow what man says to me to stop me from what I'm called to do. Girls, don't stop what you're doing just because there's opposition. Because you will have opposition as a Christian. Anytime you step up to do the work of God, there's going to be people that come against you. And they could be close people. They could be people in the church. Because the enemy's not particular about who he uses. He'll use anybody that he can. And it doesn't mean that they're bad or mean or evil or any of that. It just means that it was convenient for the enemy to use them. So, with that, girls, just be empowered. Step out there. Rock your world, girls. And then ask God if there's anything you need to change in your life. You got this. You are worthy to be called a woman of God and His daughter. And you got this. Okay, I think I'm rambling now because my mind is going like in 20 different places. And because I didn't have my scripture, I lost my scripture. I think my mind went with it, but that's okay. But I hope whatever I've just shared with you will be something that can help you today to get through any challenges, any past issues that are stirring up in you, or any scars that may still be there that are tender. That know, girls, that God is using all of this in our life to make us a better woman of God. All right? So I love you, girls. I got to get out of here. My fingers are going to fall off. It is cold. All right? Love you. Catch you tomorrow. Bye.